and no qualms about dragging his whimpering, pleading wife out of the house, through the front yard, and into the street where he tossed her away with as much respect as he would have given a plastic bag filled with garbage. Maggie Bly tumbled to the street with a yelp, blooding her palms and elbow on the rough asphalt. Hurt and afraid, she righted herself and sat there, a blubbery, blue-jeaned mess, her tousled blonde hair hanging over her eyes. With the back of her hand, she swept her hair aside and saw her enraged husband walking away from her, a silhouette against the porch light that formed a glaring, dancing streak through her tears. "Harold!" she cried. Harold Bly, a tall, barrel-chested man, turned, one foot planted on the top porch step, and deigned to look upon his wife one more time. There was no pity in his eyes. In his mid-40s and 20 years her senior, he was and had always been a boss man who did not take kindly to betrayals. He'd enjoyed throwing her into the middle of the street. In fact, he wished she would get up so he could do it again. "It's all over, Maggie," he said with a slight shake of his head. "It's a done deal." Her eyes widened in terror. Gasping and whimpering, she struggled to her feet, then ran to him. "Harold, please, don't. I'm sorry, Harold, I'm sorry." "You think you can go two-timing on me and then just say you're sorry?" he shouted, then pushed her down the porch steps with such strength that she fell again, letting out a cry the neighbors could hear. "Harold, please. Don't make me go, please." "Too late, Maggie," he said with a wave of his hand, as if passing sentence on her. "It's only a matter of time now, and there's nothing I could do to stop it. Now, you'd better get out of here, and I mean get way out of here." He turned to go inside, then added, "I don't want you around me when it happens." "Nobody does." "But where can I go?" she cried. "Well, you should have thought of that a lot sooner." Across the narrow street, a lace curtain was pulled ever so slightly open, and the wife of a mining company foreman watched the drama while her children watched cartoons on a satellite channel. 2 doors down and opposite the Bly's large brick home, a miner and his wife cracked open their front door and listened together. "Harold!" they could hear Maggie almost screaming. "Don't leave me out here." He was just opening the front door, but he turned once more to stab at her with his finger. "You stay away from me, Maggie. You come near here and I'll kill you. You hear me?" The front door slammed, and now Maggie was alone in the dark. "I hope she doesn't come here," the foreman's wife thought, and quickly let go of the lace curtain. The miner and his wife looked at each other, then closed their door quietly, hoping Maggie wouldn't hear the sound. Maggie wiped away the tears that blurred her vision and looked around the neighborhood for any haven, any sign of welcome. Maybe she could go to the Carlsons. No. She saw the parlor curtains of their turn-of-the-century home being drawn across the windows. The Brannons, perhaps. No. Across the street, she saw the porch light, then the living room light of their white house blink out. It was a clear July night, and Maggie realized that most of the neighborhood must have heard the argument. None of the neighbors would open the door to her. They wouldn't risk Harold's wrath. Despite the warmth of the evening, Maggie felt cold, and she folded her arms close to her body. She looked down the steep hill toward the rest of the little has-been town and felt no warmth from the tight rows of metal-roofed homes and aging businesses. The roof lines, with their chimneys, looked like night-blackened saw teeth against the moonlit mountainside beyond. There was hardly a light on anywhere. Suddenly, Maggie realized she was a stranger now, and to any stranger, Hyde River could be a cold and sharp-edged place. She wandered fearfully down the hill toward the highway that ran through town, her hand going to her heart as if feeling a deep pain. She looked behind, then ahead.